Grand Rising. True Brit news arc. Why some need me to be dumb, wrong and stupid. This is finishing off. I wanted to finish off a video that I would have in my time, on my timeline, yesterday. Hopefully this will go up today and it will match to be the next one from the last one that I posted then, where I was talking about or exploring the idea that what's going on with the Mexicans and the Latinos being deported in America, and whilst that's happening, ICE, I think it's called, throwing people out all right, left and centre, in conjunction with the birthright, the executive order which rescinds the 14th Amendment, I think it is. It's all coming back to me now. 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which was written by the British legal people back in the day, as a response to people that were fleeing, leaving, getting out of Europe, and those administrators that were now seeking to move to the land of milk and honey, i.e. the New World, as it was called back then. And it wasn't new at all. In fact, it's the old world. Well, anyway, so I was talking about whether or not, hinting at, or asking the question whether or not anything similar could happen here on these islands in the UK. And I suppose I want to finish that off and say yes, I think so, because for lots of different reasons. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say like this, and this is my lead into it. First of all, Donald Trump is the CEO of CEOs of all corporations. Yeah. States, countries are corporations, and their prime ministers, if you like, or presidents, or emperors, or religious leaders, they are all the principal for that area, for that state, for that region, the CEO. But over all the corporations, there's a CEO of corporations, which is basically the US of A. And that's because it's got all the guns and things. It's got the guns, and it's actually the land that it's on. Or where it operates from, has got immense amount of minerals and wealth in terms of oil, gas, gold, silver, a lot of minerals that are only found in that part of the world. When I talk about that part of the world, I'm talking from Alaska all the way down to Argentina. So, and what you've seen over the last 600 years or so, at least, but the operations actually maybe have started before then, is the setting up and the implementation and the instituting of political, financial, social, religious systems in order to govern these territories which were being invaded and colonized. Okay, so, and that operation has continues, I suppose. Well, it's been recognised more readily, and actually what the state of those land masses and the people on them before, if you like, the Western hegemony took hold and embarked upon its mission to rule the world. What's happening now is that it's been restored back to that state, or near as can be. That's why over the years you would have seen changes in names from I think it's Sri Lanka to Myanmar. I think it was Ceylon before it was Sri Lanka. Ceylon, Sri Lanka, and now it's Myanmar, or Myanmar might be Burma or something like that, or used to be Burma. So you're seeing people. There's a restoration to the kingdoms of old. No, I haven't. I started to give my hair not seen much sunshine actually in the last. I think it might have been 2021. Started to wear a turban. So yeah, I thought I'd give it, give as much air as I can, as chemtrail buzzing right above me, as I can. But I think it's here to stay. I've got a funny feeling this sun. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think they're still trying to block it out. So, which kind of like leads me into the notion of blocking out the sun, and how that might relate to what might be happening in to the Mexicans and the Latinos, and why it is that the Latinos and the Mexicans that are being deported, and it's not just them actually, it's other groups of people as well, both legal, but illegal, that have illegally arrived in the US. So I'll cut straight to the chase because I'm going to have to concentrate in a minute. Just this see a road light. I'm going to let this go by. It looked like she was going to fly off in a minute. Yeah. So what was I going to say? Right, okay. Is it going to happen here? Right, what we've got over the last 5 years at least, but for the last 10 years, most definitely, and probably longer than that, at least whilst the Tories were in for the last 14 years, that's where it really cranked up. Immigration from Southeast Asia, from Europe, Eastern Europe rather, into the UK, and it's not by accident. So all those people that are here now at some point, and the ones that have come here illegally and gained benefit for lots of different reasons. So at some point, I'm imagining there's going to be people that are will have to return to their land of origin and are not going to be happy to do so. They won't want to go. They'll be forcibly taken. Possibly we're going to have to have it. And why we're going to have it? Because Donald Trump said so. And what we're seeing is a resistance to these executive orders that Donald Trump and his administration have put out there, because they affect all corporations. That's why you're seeing Starmer, Macron, all these Western leaders, Carney, running around the place trying to deal with these tariffs. These tariffs are essentially sanctions. These are the actions of a man that is dismantling and liquidating a bankrupt corporation worldwide. And part of any bankruptcy, how do I know? Because I know. So I've been forced into that process of having assets liquidated, particularly if you're in debt. Well, I'm saying particularly because I was not in debt, didn't owe anybody anything. And so this is but these Western nations are very much in debt, and they've put their populations, their people, in debt. by creating a situation whereby they've become the creditor and the sole beneficiary of resources that they don't own, that don't belong to them, that they've acquired through nefarious means and activities such as blackmail, corruption, infiltration, backstabbing, two-faced, eugenics and murder, annihilation and trafficking. Now, I know that sounds familiar, but it's organised crime. It's an organised crime gang. So yes, at some point, because the reason why the black American, why people are asking for help from so-called black Americans is that the 14th Amendment was about slaves. So you see, the benefits that these immigrant, legal and otherwise, migrant communities, going back centuries actually, going back to after when the first pilgrims went over to America, going back to those times, because it's under the 14th Amendment that allows for people that are born in America to become citizens of America and therefore get all the benefits of being a citizen. And it's a citizen under the corporation actually as well, because citizen, if you look up the meaning of the word, citizen basically means servant or slave, and you're coming on a citizenship. So you see, I think I'm going to go around this way because, just to finish this off because it's going well, I think I'm explaining it quite well. So is it going to happen here? Absolutely. Because the migrant situation that we have in the UK means that there are people that are receiving things like, after coming in and off the boat, or wherever it is, whatever means, they get the benefit of hotels, rooms, houses now, credit cards, mobile phones. Meanwhile, there are people sleeping on the fucking streets. Our businesses are closing down, up and down, you know, high streets are closing down, all up and down the place. Yeah, and the people that are supposed to benefit from that never have benefited and still continue not to benefit. But the issue is really what's different over here in the UK is that it's starting to impact so-called white people who were responsible for them in the first place, for allowing this activity to take place and participating in it in some degree, supporting it in many ways. And now the chickens have come home to roost, because now we are becoming more and more aware, and this is where there's a lot of, not so much cognitive dissonance, but more willful ignorance about who the indigenous and aboriginal are. Because the indigenous and the aboriginal, they're the ones that are considered slaves. They're the ones that are the beneficiaries to all the shit that's been handed out to all and sundry for the last at least the last 15 years under the Tories, and over the last year with the Labour Party. It's been a systematic removal of the indigenous and the aboriginal over time, and also the ones that came here from Eastern Europe after the Second World War. They became the English, and then again started to receive the benefits that ought to have been afforded by the people that were returning after the Second World War, because the Windrush enterprise, if you like, transportations, began in 1948, when there's also all sorts of other shit kicking off around the world. So you see, So I think it's going to happen, and I'm saying that people of Caribbean descent ought not to get involved in any. Well, I'm me personally. I'm not. Am I taking sides? No, I'm not. No, nobody was here. I warned people. You can show as much mercy to that's been shown to me. And there's going to be a lot of melanated people as we become more and more aware of who we are, who the Indigenous and Aboriginal are, who the imposters are, and what's been going on. So out of order. Till next time, may your ERP and your spirituality remain strong. I'm gone.